Hello and welcome to another episode of the BGBI podcast. You are joined by myself, Luke, and my friend over here, Oscar. And the general structure of this podcast is to tell a nice little story, or a few stories. We've had a few stories in the past, covering different motoring or crime or or all around motoring really, but different aspects, different intriguing stories that we've not really heard before. But before that, we have a little discussion, what we know, what we've been up to, different bits and bobs, just a little chinwag as mates, because that is literally what this is.
Yeah, it's a pub chat, isn't it? It's a pub chat around the table telling stories.
There we go, yeah. And then after the story, if you're not into it, then that's fine. But for the beer drinkers, for the beer enthusiasts, a little beer review, a little beer and chat.
A little chops in.
Because at the end of the day, this is the beers, gears, and bad ideas. Beers is in that, gears is right now, and bad ideas is the whole thing.
That's true.
So, to get started with what we've been up to, I've heard, I haven't heard, I've watched the first game that England have played in the World Cup. Did very well. I mean,
yeah,
you'd hope.
Well, they're top three favourites to win the whole tournament.
Top three?
Top three favourites to win the whole tournament.
I haven't seen that. Do you know what the other two
are? Spain and... Ooh. Who is it? Spain and Argentina, probably.
Right, okay.
They're most likely. They're playing really well. Messi played fantastically this week
I
as
heard,
well.
but I mean, that's not crazy news.
No, he's just
The best
fantastic
football
all round,
player
isn't he?
is good at football. Great.
Yeah. Breaking news: Sky Blue. So that's brilliant. Yeah. Did you watch it at all, or did you?
I watched a bit, but it got too late. I mean, the fact that it's in America, it's
9 p.m. kickoff.
and you've got to get up early the next day.
It was a
Or
late one.
school night.
Yeah, school night these days. That's exactly. Fantastic result, 4-2, wasn't it? I believe.
Yeah, 4-2. And it'll be nice to watch the games going forward because they get more and more exciting, don't they? The more they
you say that. I think we're playing Panama in one of the next two games. These are like the preliminary. Yeah.
They're still exciting because you don't want to lose the bad games, do you?
No, exactly. I mean, Croatia is probably the best team we've faced in the first three games.
Right.
For sure. They're definitely the best one. I'll tell you what I found, and I found this just browsing news articles the other day.
Okay, right, yeah.
So just a little internet search will tell you some of the news popping up in and around the automotive space, and this is the article that I found most poignant for the podcast. Volkswagen job cuts. There is going to be a significant amount of job cuts. This is from the CEO himself. They're going to be slashing around 19,000 jobs in Germany.
Wow.
That's a lot of jobs. And then they also have goals by 2030 to cut 28,000 jobs.
So they are downsizing quite considerably then.
That is a massive cut downsize. Maybe this is to do with AI.
More autonomy and or they could just be slowing down their processes.
Yeah, with all the EV mandates, obviously they're not going to be, batteries are pretty much what made in a factory and shipped over. You don't have to have someone assembling an engine together with precision.
Of course, yeah.
Maybe they're getting rid of that, but damn, I feel really bad for anyone that will be losing their jobs. So
bad for the economy.
Yeah, so best wishes go out to anyone losing their job in the Volkswagen job cut.
Yeah, it's never easy, is it, losing your job, and especially in that kind of, in the engineering field, it's not, I wouldn't say it's easy, but you can kind of pivot into other things. But say if you've been there for a while and you don't really want to move job, that's a big thing to go through.
No, definitely. I 100% concur on that point.
Yes. What else is there? I think as this is coming out, I think everyone's seen, this is quite big news. The big Jeremy Clarkson from Top Gear, from Grand Tour, from Clarkson's Farm. He's put out a statement. Well, I think it was on one of the episodes.
It was on the final two episodes that aired at midnight on yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Shifting from Tuesday to Wednesday.
Yeah. I don't know if this is a direct quote, but quite a dangerous strain of cancer.
Aggressive form.
Aggressive. That's the word I was going for.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's not good news. But I think the hopes from everyone is that he can pull through and get through it, get out the other side of it, and continue being himself, because he's quite a character. I mean, we need that character.
We need JC.
Yeah.
We need him around. I think he was diagnosed. It would have been at the end of the farming season last year, and he's been active on Instagram, which gives us some hope. Obviously, he's been. I think he was at the Royal Ascot as well.
Oh right, yeah.
The horse racing the other day.
Yeah.
So maybe they found it, but I think there was some complications with the surgery.
Oh right, okay.
Initially, because he had surgery last year, maybe. But yeah, no. Said as we said earlier, it was an aggressive form, but they caught it at the early stages.
Right, yeah.
And they needed to remove something like 15% of his prostate
in
order to tackle the cancer.
Yeah.
And something went awry with the surgery. So, but no, wishing him a speedy recovery, and
definitely.
our thoughts go out to him and his family as well, for sure.
And I think everyone in the automotive space is behind that as well.
Exactly. I don't think the whole of the UK feels like they're behind him. I mean, even whether you like Jeremy Clarkson or not, even Piers Morgan came out in support.
Even the ones aren't fully on board with everything he's done in the past or everything he does and what he's like. Everyone still loves him. He's a national treasure in this country.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he's up there, isn't he, with the likes of Attenborough and national treasure status.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a little conclusion on the week. It's been quite a hectic week with things going on and all these interesting stories out. And there's millions more we could cover, but we won't have the time. We'll be here for 7 hours.
Scraping the surface. Yeah, we'll be there all
night. But let's introduce to our favourite element.
Indeed.
Dark side of the road. So today's story is something we'll dub the recall they buried. Okay, so this is to do the TAKATA airbag scandal. So I know you're quite familiar with TAKATA as a brand, aren't you? Because you had a backpack which had TAKATA seatbelt straps.
The good old Japanese enthusiast.
Yeah, exactly.
They do all sorts really. I think they're well known for their seatbelts, their racing seatbelts. And other bits and bobs like tuning stuff for Japanese cars, safety systems, that kind of thing.
Safety systems is where we'll be delving into today.
Right, yeah. But they're a big company, and they supply quite a lot of manufacturers. So
yeah, no, it's true, and it's quite an interesting premise as well for today's story, because it's a company that's built around safety, right? And this whole thing that's to do with safety, but it ended up actually endangering people's lives.
Oh right, okay.
So that's where it gets,
that's the meat and potatoes of this
interesting story as well. So yeah, let's dive into it. As we do, the structure as always, we'll start off with the key people in the story, and we've got some key corporations in here as well, key companies as well. So we'll start off with the TAKATA Corporation. Okay, safety equipment giant. They were founded in 1933.
Oh wow. Okay.
And then eventually they led on to what we now know as a massive financial strain on the business. We'll get onto that in the story. And then we've got some Japanese names here that I will find very hard to pronounce because
we'll take this part slow.
Yeah. Shigehisa Takada, who was the chairman and CEO during the collapse, and he was the grandson of the founder. It actually kind of reminds me of a quote that I hear from time to time tossed about like people who build up companies and pass through the family. It's this quote called "shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves."
Okay.
It takes one generation to build the company, right? So it's a rule on 3 generations. One generation to build a company, a second generation to maintain it because they watched their parents build it, they knew the struggle, and they maintain it. And it takes a third generation to just shoot all the money away and smoke over the wall, pretty much. So that's why it's called shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves. Quite a cool quote.
Oh, okay.
And you do see it. There's a lot of companies out there that have ended, in a similar way, with the third generation just having no idea how hard it was to build it, and then it just goes. Then we'll bring on to 3 individuals here. So Shinichi Tanaka, Hideo Nakajima, and Tsuneo Chikareishi. I believe that's pronounced right. I could be wrong. These were 3 TAKATA executives who were indicted in Detroit in December 2016 on wire fraud and conspiracy charges. These are allegations only. There was no,
Okay.
An indictment is an allegation. Okay, we'll just clear the air now. Moving on to the last few. I say last few, there's still probably 5 here to go. Ashley Parham, 18 at the time, Oklahoma, widely reported as the first known fatality of the airbag scandal in 2009. Christy Williams, who was a Georgia driver whose airbag fired at a red light, stationary, no accident. 2010 just fired on its own. She survived, but it was proof that they could go off without a crash scenario.
Yeah. Faulty products.
Yeah, exactly. The NHTSA, NHTSA, I think people pronounce it as well, is a US safety regulator, and they forced the national recall for all of these airbags as well.
Yeah.
So there was also senators involved in this. Senators Blumenthal and Markey, they pushed for a DOJ, Department of Justice, criminal investigation after the 2014 New York Times revelations.
Okay.
Honda, Takata's biggest airbag customer, an automaker with the most associated deaths in this scenario.
So there's ties there with Honda.
Exactly, but they were also, it's important to note this as well, they were the first to call out Takata, and they also had the most aggressive strategy of repairs, so they just kept rolling out. They knew that safety was the number one priority, so they were shit hot on this.
Yeah.
They were right on it. And then also now, Key Safety Systems / Joyson, a Michigan-based Chinese-owned Chinese parties, Ningbo Joyson. They were a supplier that bought Takata's assets after the financial ruin of the company for $1.6 billion, and they became Joyson Safety Systems in 2018.
Okay, yeah.
With the key people wrapped up, the key corporations wrapped up, let's firstly talk about airbags. How does an airbag actually work? Right? Do you know this? Going into this, do you have any idea of how an airbag works? As an engineer, I feel like you might.
It's similar to the firing action of like a shot, because it's like almost like a shotgun shell.
Almost.
There's like a firing like a pin that uses that kind of combustion power to force that bag outwards.
Yeah. You've pretty much nailed it on the head with that already. That's pretty much what it is. So how I've got it written down here is a sensor detects a crash, triggers a tiny controlled explosion inside a metal canister, and this is dubbed the inflator. Who would know? Who would have known? The gas fills the bag in about 1/20th of a second.
Yeah.
So that is
extremely it'll be like a CO2 canister that's pierced open and
just fills it up, bang.
Yeah.
But the key point to note as well is that this is a controlled explosion, right? So this is all engineered to perfection.
It's not a sawn-off shotgun in your dashboard.
Yeah, it's not just fucking just straight off into your face. Apologies for the swearing. Yeah, it doesn't just go off into your face randomly. But delving into a bit more of the system around it itself as well. To make the gas, you need a propellant, right? In the late 1990s, Takata chose ammonium nitrate. Now, does that ring a bell to you at all? Ammonium nitrate.
Obviously, you've got some nitrous, which that would be the nitrous gas. But ammonium coming from ammonia, which is poisonous.
No, it's not. No, it's not down that route. But it's used in a bunch of other things that you would be very familiar with. So it's used in fertilizer.
Yeah.
It's used in mining and construction explosives.
Ah, right. Okay.
And it is very cheap. And it produces what you want in an airbag. A lot of gas, very fast.
Yeah.
So they have this ammonium nitrate that they're trying to implement into these new airbag systems that they've developed. But there is a problem with this. Of course there is, else we wouldn't have this story today. It's unstable and it degrades with moisture and repeated heat cycles over the years, especially in hot / humid environments, which in America, or the United States of America, there is a lot of, isn't there? Because you've got Texas, you've got California.
Cars could be sat in the sun for multiple days and nights. And...
Yeah, exactly. All those Midwestern states as well. They're just really hot or humid, or even places like Florida, which is very humid. Yeah. And these all go together to degrade this propellant over time. So here's what goes wrong with it. So the propellant burns too fast once it's been degraded through this heat and moisture. And the pressure spikes and the metal housing ruptures and fires sharp metal fragments straight into the cabin. So it's completely unstable, and people knew this at the time after some testing. People avoided it. Other manufacturing companies avoided it as well before. They knew that it was unstable, but Takata still chose to go forward with this. And they just used it.
Yeah.
They knew
Cheap option.
it's cheap. I mean, that's what you do as a business. You go
Yeah.
for what you think
Yeah.
is right at the time, even though it may
And
not be.
I guess it's not. Maybe it's part of this, but I guess the testing procedure for the heat cycles is a bit harder to do because you can't really test out full lifelong life cycles of heating and cooling 1,000 times
Yeah.
and then seeing how it is, because it will take time to do that. So if you're already rolling them off the shelf and testing it by the side, you can then realize they don't work when you've heat cycled them 1,000 times. Then you've in the process of it's too late sort of thing, and
Yeah.
now everyone's got frag grenades in their cars.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
Which is where it leads us up to
and
today.
I don't know how much that plays into the story, but I can imagine that's the sort of
That
thing.
is pretty much nail on the head of
Right.
the direction we'll be
Yeah.
heading down in this story. As always, we'll walk through acts. I like to do acts,
Yeah.
break down each segment of the story into individual acts. Then we know, we've got a nice chronological development,
Yeah.
and you can see. And any story that we do that's multiple stories, break into stories. I like the previous episode, so
Yeah.
go and watch that after this
So
episode.
there was a lot of tasty stories in that one last time.
Some pretty interesting stories.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah. Do you know who I am? So more serious tone here. Okay, we get into the whole development of this, the history,
Right.
and then also where it leads us today. We'll start off with Act 1. So this is who is Takata? Do you know, other than what you said earlier? Do you know anything else about them?
Well, I don't know what level of a company they were at the point that this was. I mean, just a safety systems, I guess, engineering, design, and manufacturing company. Other than that, I guess just a run of the mill kind of nothing spectacular about them. Just selling what they do best.
Well, it's quite interesting. They have quite a unique start in their history. So, as I
Okay.
mentioned earlier, they were founded in 1933 in
Yeah.
Japan. Of course, they started off in textiles originally,
Oh, right.
which is quite a unique feature. But they later, in the 50s, 60s, moved through to car safety, which I think is quite a different route to go down.
Yeah, I mean, I can see
Very
the way that
different
they
road.
go about that, because they can almost go down the route of through textiles making the fabric seatbelts and things like that. And I guess you've got the fabric, if there's fabric on airbags and stuff like that, those systems, but they're a bit more engineering design forward than textiles and
Yeah, exactly.
sofas and carpets and
It's a very different route to go down, in my opinion. So they start off with seatbelts first,
Yeah.
then child seats, and then eventually airbags.
Yeah.
Which, you know the seatbelts very well with your backpack.
Oh, very big metal buckles on them.
Very big metal buckles. That would stop you in a crash. I do think you need to so they got massive. They got absolutely huge. They were one of the biggest safety equipment suppliers in the world, and they actually had a 20% share of the global market at one point in time. So that's huge. That is. I don't think people comprehend how much money you'd probably be earning from having that.
Well, that's like the
monopoly.
modern day. I should know the name. Remind me of the name of the big boy at the moment. Stocks wise, chip company.
Nvidia.
Yeah,
just holding monopoly on the AI market and the graphic card market. Yeah,
but it'll be like in a previous time kind of Nvidia.
Yeah, that's a good parallel to draw for anyone that knows. I think they'd appreciate that. So they were massive, as I say, absolutely huge. They had tens of thousands of employees, factories in 20 plus countries, and they were supplying pretty much every car manufacturer that you can think of. So we've got Honda, Toyota, Ford, General Motors, BMW, Nissan, and Volkswagen.
Yeah. So big negotiations going on, big ties.
It's a lot of, Speaking of Volkswagen, it actually makes me wonder, I might need to check a recall on my car.
Good point. I mean, going back a bit, but you'll have to see.
So obviously the whole reason they existed is to keep you safe. The whole company exists around the premise of we'll keep you safe in a crash. Doing everything from the child seat belts, airbags. They've got that big empire on safety. But it's important to note they're about to become one of the most dangerous features in a car, particularly their product, the airbag.
Yes.
It's about to become the most dangerous feature within a car itself. As I mentioned in the airbag breakdown, in the late 90s, they began to build their airbag around the product, around the gas, the unstable chemical.
The ammonium nitrate.
Ammonium nitrate, against warnings. And this is where it gets juicy. So this is where it gets really interesting. We go into Act 2. This is where the first cracks start to appear for Takata and their airbag. Okay. 2004 in Alabama, United States of America. Eagle Screech.
The South.
Yeah. A Takata airbag in a Honda ruptures and sprays metal debris at the driver. So literally, as you mentioned earlier, a frag grenade.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's go straight off.
That'd be catastrophic. I mean that might be in a crash scenario, which is dangerous anyway. To add a frag grenade to a crash is quite
yeah, it's quite bad. So we go to 2014. Just a little jump here to bring you to report on a New York Times investigation. New York Times investigation, and this is reported via CBS and NBC, and this led to the airbags being tested secretly. It alarmed Takata enough. These Japanese names. It's alarmed Takata enough that they would test it, but they tested it in private, secretly, away from the prying eyes, without it being documented properly. And I'll speak about that as we get into this as well.
Sketchy.
They tested 50 airbags pulled from scrap yards. So they didn't go through official routes here. Reportedly after hours and at weekends and on holidays, off the books is what it seems to be doing, isn't it? That's quite a dodgy way to go around that. Especially
it's not really a good testing process. You don't know the life that the airbags lived. You don't know any details about it.
Exactly.
So,
and that's where it gets interesting. So they started testing these in a lab. And they found that the steel inflators in 2 of the 50 cracked during testing, which is obviously you want a 0%.
Say 2 in 50, that's 4%. If you're thinking about selling millions,
that's a lot of them. That's a lot of them. And this is the exact condition that leads to the rupture. It's going to split. It's going to send those metal shards straight into the face of an unsuspecting driver. It was so alarming to Takata that the engineers for them started designing fixes immediately.
Right.
Okay.
So they knew how bad it was, but they just kept it.
They were preparing for a recall. So it seems on the surface like a company doing the right thing, doesn't it?
Right.
But instead of telling the regulators, they discounted the results and ordered the lab to delete the data. Yeah. And they throw away the inflators into the bin. Just get rid.
Like the test never happened.
Like it never happened. Like they never saw the cracks in the first place. So obviously it's 2014. This was 4 years before Takata told the regulators that it was doing any testing at all.
Right.
And then Takata later eventually went to decline to comment to the New York Times when asked about this topic in particular. Okay, so when Blumenthal Marquis, the senators that I mentioned earlier, read the article, they immediately called for a Department of Justice criminal investigation, which is what happens eventually. But yeah, that's going down the dark path very quickly already. And this is kind of the nerve-wracking part. And we get into some of the deaths now in the Act number 3. This is the first to die. So going back again to 2008 this time, Honda issues the first recall about these ruptures. It's just a small batch to start off with. But the clock has run out. 2009, the first known US death, Ashley Parham. Ashley, 18, from Oklahoma, driving a 2001 Accord. Minor collision in a car park, the kind that we'd mentioned on the slip ramp in the previous episode.
Right, yeah.
You would just exchange your details over and get on with your life.
Yeah.
But the airbag deployed, ruptured, and metal fragments hit her neck and severed an artery. And she bled to death.
Yeah.
So that's extreme.
Yeah.
Like, you would never expect that to happen in that situation. You expect to be safe. in your car during one of those moments, especially with a minor sort of crash. So it's important to emphasize that just from this minor bump, something that's meant to protect her killed her. And her family actually bought a wrongful death case that TAKATA settled in 2009. So 2010, in Georgia, this is the next person to suffer the wrath of the airbag. Christy Williams, she stopped at a red light in a 2001 Honda Civic. She wasn't in the crash. She just sat at the lights. The airbag goes off on its own. It fires shrapnel into her neck and severs her carotid artery. She survived, though.
Right.
She managed to staunch the bleeding, so obviously she knew a bit about things. She probably
bit of fabric and holding on,
stuffing in the fabric in there, making sure that it isn't you pissing blood everywhere. Managed to call an ambulance, but it also proves that the airbags could fire and kill for no reason at all.
Yeah.
They just go off randomly.
So not even in a crash scenario, it's whenever.
It's
unpredictable.
It could just happen. And through all this, per the Department of Justice, the company's still hiding the real test data from its customers.
Right.
Which is, there's emphasis on you're meant to be a safety company.
Yeah.
Please look after us and the people on the road. But we're moving to Act 4, and this is where, as I like to say in the first episode, I believe I use this term as well, is the wheels falling off the trolley. The dam breaks, effectively, 2013 to 2016. By 2013, it's unraveling. Automakers Toyota, Honda, Nissan, Mazda recall millions of their older cars worldwide. This isn't just US, of course.
Yeah.
November 2014, NHTSA demands TAKATA declare a national recall of driver-side inflators.
Right.
And they refuse.
Oh.
I know. Yeah, you wouldn't think. That's so unsuspecting.
Yeah.
Is the point. Yeah, they refused. TAKATA argues that the regulator doesn't have the authority and that recalls are the car maker's problem.
So they're not taking liability of the safety of their customers?
It would seem that way. That it seems they push or shift the blame onto the manufacturers, the car manufacturers themselves, even though they've developed the part effectively.
It's their part themselves, yeah.
No, exactly. December 2014, TAKATA tells NHTSA flat out that the evidence doesn't support a nationwide recall, and the executives dragged in front of Congress. Early 2016, a US Senate Commerce Committee report and lawmakers, so this reported by Reuters, Reuters, like the really popular news source, cite TAKATA's own internal documents showing data manipulation, which obviously we knew about.
Yeah.
The car makers admit the cause is humidity in design, plus the ammonium nitrate propellant, which we knew about earlier, and which people at the safety systems knew about before it was even implemented into this car and specified into each of these systems. Then we come on to May 2015. Under pressure, TAKATA agrees to declare tens of millions of inflators defective.
Tens of millions?
Tens of millions.
Wow. So going back to that 2 of 50.
Yeah.
That's a lot of defective, possibly defective airbags.
Exactly. So also reporting on this, CBC and Reuters described it as roughly doubling the recall to 33.8 million US airbags.
Wow. US airbags as well. Because we're going worldwide with this. That's even more.
The biggest in US history at the time.
Yeah.
So obviously you can only imagine the scale and cost that would have, the negative effect that would have on the company.
Yeah. And I think that's what's weighing their decisions of not telling people the outcome of their tests and not taking liability.
Exactly.
So,
and this is where it gets even bigger, right? By 2016, regulators say there could be up to 85 to 90 million defective inflators out there.
That's like bigger than a world war.
That is huge. That is literally, I believe here, just looking at my notes, the biggest recall the industry has ever seen.
Right, yeah.
Which is incomprehensible. I know. 85 to 90 million airbags. Ridiculous. And we don't know what cars are on the road that still have them or don't have them, unless you check yourself and then go online and find out.
I mean, it's pretty simple, isn't it? Go on the government website, you check your car details, your MOT.
Get onto that. Yeah. Well, we've got some website sources for people at the end of this story, so people can check out, check whether their car is fit for purpose. Act 5, the reckoning, as we like to label
Yeah.
a lot of the Act 5s in our stories, the reckoning. It's just gravitas, doesn't it? So this is where the guilty plea commences. I know just off camera, I gave to you just one statistic before this story. You knew nothing about this, but I
yeah.
gave you one statistic, and I told you to guess at how much they had to pay in criminal
Yeah.
penalties.
And I guessed 5 million.
You guessed 5 million.
Yeah.
But here, the official stat written down here, so they had to pay $1 billion in criminal penalties.
1 billion.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? And that was them. That was Takata agreeing to plead guilty to wire fraud. And that's paying the $1 billion in criminal penalties. On the same day, Detroit grand jury indictment unsealed, charging the 3 executives. Again, as I spoke about at the start, this is indicted. That it's not. The 3, as I mentioned, I'm going to find these very hard to pronounce again. Shinichi Tanaka, 59 at the time, Hideo Nakajima, 65 at the time, and Tsuneo Chikaraishi, 61 at the time. All Japanese citizens, I add. Each charged, with the indictment being filed on December the 7th, 2016, with 1 count of conspiracy plus 5 counts of wire fraud. And remember, an indictment is an allegation, not a conviction. Right. I think it's very important to preface this when we're speaking about these cases on air.
There's no jail time as of yet.
This leads on to February 27th, 2017. Takata formally pleads guilty to 1 count of wire fraud in US District Court, Detroit, and is sentenced. So the US attorneys, Barbara McQuaid, said executives routinely discussed falsifying the reports in emails and had a nickname for altering, deleting the bad test data. And they called this, so for an XXing, quote unquote, XX-ing, unquote, the data. And that was the nickname they chose for that. So the line that stands out that the prosecutor said at the time is the company repeatedly and systematically falsified critical test data, put in profits and production schedules ahead of safety. And of course, I'm paraphrasing with that there, but that's the gist of the argument that the prosecutors put forward. So the 1 billion figure obviously is huge, and you kind of must be thinking to yourself, how is that broken down? Where does that £1 billion go? So $25 million of it went on just a criminal fine.
Which, I mean, 25 million is 5 times what I guessed, and that's only a little slice.
That's a slice of the pie.
whole sum. So.
Yeah, exactly. $125 million of it went to a restitution fund for the individuals injured by the airbags who hadn't already settled outside the court. So obviously there's costs incurred on top of that as well with the ongoing cases, etc. And then the big kicker, $850 million of it went to a restitution fund for the automakers who were defrauded at the time. So obviously they'll be losing a lot of profit by recalling all these vehicles, paying the technicians to take out the old airbags. They've got to get the new airbags in, which they're paying for, and they've got to find a way to dispose the old airbags, which they're paying for. So it would have been a lot of money, big financial hit for the automakers.
And then also at the same time, their name, their brand at the same time is being, looked down upon because all these problems are going on with their cars. People don't go, oh, the Takata airbags have gone bad. They go, my Honda isn't working.
Yeah, no, exactly. So also just on top of this as well, they faced 3 years probation and independent compliance monitor. So obviously usually people go through NHTSA or whatever compliance monitor they have, but they had an independent compliance monitor to check they were going and making sure everything was fine at the time. Yeah. This leads us on to the next part in the reckoning section of this. The bankruptcy, 2017 to 2018.
Wow.
So we start in June 25th, 2017. Takata's US arm, dubbed TK Holdings, files Chapter 11 in Delaware. Japanese parent files in Tokyo the next day. This is the biggest collapse of a Japanese manufacturer post-war.
Yeah.
And that's reported by Reuters. So liabilities in the US filing, they listed 10 billion to 50 billion US dollars, and then in Japanese yen, there's something like 1.7 trillion yen, which is equivalent to $15 billion. So there's a lot of liabilities that the company faced, which led to the eventual bankruptcy. This is where it gets interesting yet again. they sold the company. Obviously, they needed to pay off the debt following the bankruptcy filings. So the most viable assets were bought for $1.6 billion by Key Safety Systems, Michigan-based, owned by China's Ningbo Joyson, as we spoke about at the start of the story.
Yeah.
It took 60 months to execute that deal.
Wow.
So that's a big old... There's a law firm out there that was creaming off that, writing those papers and sending off the money. We now move on to April the 11th, 2018. Takata was renamed Joyson Safety Systems, and Takata name effectively dies. With the scandal, with all of the airbag safety dysfunctions, everything, the name just is dead and buried. I mean, you know it. I never knew Takata before I saw your green straps. But here's also a slight twist on this as well. So part of the surviving operation kept making the replacement inflators to go in the cars, which obviously you've done properly. But it's funny because the company that obviously caused this massive recall in the first place is also helping build the fix. So it just it comes full circle. I mean, if you didn't cheap out in the first place, Takata would still be 20% global share roughly, wouldn't it, or something along those lines?
Who knows? But there'd definitely be a lot more around than there are now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. There wouldn't be Ningbo Joyson. Let's move on to Act 6, right? So the numbers, and this is a breakdown of the cars, the airbags recalled, etc. There's a lot of numbers involved in this big scandal. So the largest auto recall in US history, as you mentioned earlier, of course it was bound to be, wasn't it? Because airbags, you can just chuck them on there. Like, they must be fairly cheap. I don't know how expensive they are, but to buy an airbag system, they must be fairly cheap because it's not a lot of parts and it's not a lot of expensive parts.
Yeah, it's not. Obviously, it'd be expensive for the you've got the gas and the different components, fine components that go into it. But if you think the components that go into your radio, a lot finer, a lot more in-depth kind of things, and you got your engine. So they're not one of the most expensive ones, obviously. But yeah, it's definitely one that you shouldn't be cheaping out on as a manufacturer, because it's very important. It's almost like it's almost like it should be one of the key components, and then the car's kind of built around it. But you see some instances where it's like a last. Oh yeah, we need to put them in. Let's put them in.
Yeah,
it's regulation. So.
And then just to add some more gravitas to the argument by providing some numbers here. 67 million inflators across 42 million US vehicles and 19 different automakers. So that's a lot. And then on top of that, there were tens of millions more worldwide.
Yeah.
So you can only imagine this is going 150 million plus.
Yeah, so
effective.
It's predominantly US, but still, the fact that it's nearly 80 million. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
That's a lot of bad stuff going on.
And then this also leads us on to the deaths that were surrounded this as well, obviously. At the guilty plea on January 2017, at least 11 in the US, 16 worldwide, and 180 plus injuries.
Yeah.
So there is significant damage done. Like, you may not look at that and think that's a lot, but in terms of a system that's meant to keep you safe, it should be negatively impacted. It should have saved lives, opposed to actually ending them. By December 2022, NHTSA put it at 33 worldwide. That's deaths, including up to 24 in the US. So this is growing over time. It's exponential. And then September 2024, Repair Driven News reported NHTSA confirming a 28th US death. And Honda alone has confirmed 20 US deaths, roughly, on its own figures.
Yeah.
So we can see there's a lot of numbers that are surrounding this case as well. And those figures are rough, like kind of educated guesses as well that were provided. So they're not exact, and obviously we never know the full scale of things. It's like asking how many people are in a country. You will never know because you can't have a survey out to every single person. So the injuries climbed as well. So there are more than 400 in the US attributed. So this is still growing. This is still an ongoing thing. And many catastrophic facial and neck wounds resembling blast trauma, which again is the frag grenade reference you spoke about earlier. And as we knew, and as we knew from the defect alone, many of these injuries and deaths occurred in more hotter and humid areas. So as we mentioned, this can be California, Orlando, Texas, or any Midwestern kind of states, somewhere that would experience a lot of heat. That leads us on to the final act, number 7, and this is where it gets quite sinister. And this is something that is titled "Still Ongoing" because all of them haven't been found, all of them haven't been fixed. There are still airbags out there that play a significant role.
Yeah, because I guess recalls are the responsibility of the car owner to take their car in, but the manufacturers can't just like via radio control your car and take it into the garage or make you do it. It's up to you to get your car in the garage, and some people aren't that in touch with what their car
exactly.
is.
Or people don't use the internet, or people don't get the mail, or anything like that. But it also leads us on to some more facts and figures surrounding this as well. So, as of 2024 to 2026 reporting, roughly 88% of recalled inflators are repaired, and that was as of April 2024, which still leaves millions unrepaired and on the road.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just sad to know that someone out there could still experience a tragic injury or even death, because they haven't had their vehicle repaired.
And they've got the same chances of that happening as it was when those cars first rolled out with those dodgy airbags.
Exactly. And it's also interesting that some of the automakers that I've got written down here as well, Honda, Stellantis / Chrysler, Ford, Mazda, Nissan, and BMW have issued urgent do not drive warnings.
Right.
For the oldest, most dangerous dubbed alpha inflators. Some with up to a 50% chance of rupturing in a crash.
Oh wow.
I know.
50%. I would not have those odds.
That's bad odds. That's a coin flip on whether every time you get into your car and drive to work, whether you're going to get a frag grenade in the face or not.
Yeah.
But also, I think it's important that we both premise this as well and push this. If anyone, after listening to this episode, needs to check their vehicle, we've got 2 websites that I want to push here. So this is for US and UK, as they're predominantly, that's our viewer listener base.
Yeah, good.
So for the US, you check on nhtsa.gov/recalls, so you can check your vehicle there. And then for the UK, we've got www.gov.uk/check-vehicle-recall.
Yeah.
And you can check your vehicle there. Just double check. What you need to do is put in your number plate or put in your VIN.
If I remember rightly, it's once you put in your VIN or your reg plate, it will, instead of what normally happens is it comes up with your tax and MOT status, and then underneath it says recalls. You open that, it says no recalls.
Yeah.
But if you've got a recall, it pops straight up.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to know if you've got a recall or not.
Yeah, and it's very important for any viewers, listeners watching this to
definitely
double check their cars if they've got particularly an older vehicle, like myself driving a 2003 car. I did check when I was writing this. I did check to make sure that my car was actually stable.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it is. So any Volkswagen Mark IV Golfs as of June the 18th, 2026, we don't have any recalls that I know of. So there.
Well, someone might have one, but they haven't recalled yet they haven't recalled their car yet, and maybe the owner of your previous owner did on yours. So I mean, there still could. So
yeah, true.
It's always important to still check.
That is a very good point. But that concludes this story for today. And I thought it was, it's a brand you knew before, brand that I didn't know before, researching and writing the points for this.
But it's definitely digging into a story that not many people, and I definitely didn't know. So yeah. I mean, it's good because it sheds a light on how important it is for recalls, the whole recall scenario, why recalls happen, and why people do them, and how important it is.
They don't just do them for the goodness of their profits. They do it because it's a safety concern that people need to check out.
And to be fair, I think, and I'm not sure if people know this or not, but recalls are completely free. So if anything, it's like a free upgrade.
Free upgrades, to not people, have a death trap. No, exactly. So what's your overarching opinions, feelings on this story as a whole? Where's your mind at?
Well, like I say, it sheds a light on how important the recall system is and why it's in place. It's definitely something that makes you think, because you kind of assume that these safety systems will work. They're in the car, so they should work. and you think, I've got my seatbelt on, I'll be fine. And then you go boy racing, you go 150 miles an hour on the motorway, and you think, oh, I've got airbags, I'll be okay. Where sometimes in these cases, people aren't. But I guess it ties back into what we talked about before about the road rage stories last time. And I'm in my safe box, you're in your safe box. And people think if they're in a bigger safe box, say like a big SUV or like a Land Rover or something like that, they kind of push the boundaries more and kind of say, well, I'm safe, so I can do more.
They've got that overconfidence, haven't they?
Yeah, whereas if they were in a Citroen C1, they'd be a bit more scared about what they're doing.
Or a 1999 Toyota Yaris GS.
But I think that this ties in with the fact that things do go wrong and you can't be 100% certain that you'll be. I mean, this isn't fear mongering.
No.
I don't want to say you're going to die on the way home today.
You shouldn't drive your car ever again.
But it kind of like sits you back in your seat and makes you feel more human about the kind of things that you're doing. You're not invincible.
No, exactly. And I think that's the importance of bringing these stories and talking about them as well, because it is important to reflect on safety. It's the biggest concern when anyone gets in a car. You know, are you getting home safe, or are you getting to your destination safe? But no, thank you for your opinion. That's the reason we do the stories, is to have that. But we also have it to have a little debate. We'll bring in some points that we have previously dissected myself, and then we bring them to you, and then we can have a little discussion on some of the points.
See if my opinion differs to yours.
Exactly, that's the whole point of doing it. This is the pub chat. This is the pub debate. If we debate, usually we just agree because our minds are just in a similar place. I feel like so. The first question I wanted to ask is, or the first debate topic we should bring forward is, most of the $1 billion went to the car makers and not the victims. Obviously, 850 million versus the 125 million. Do you think that's justice? And can you put a price on a cover-up that killed dozens? And also, just before we go into this, we want to preface that this is completely our own opinions. It's just riffing off the top of our head. So.
Yeah, we don't know everything in the world. This is just a pub chat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say, because it'd be stripped down into different things. Obviously, it's almost like defacing the companies, because it's not truly, it's not their components that are going wrong. So it's almost like it's not fair on their behalf, the fact that their products are now faulty and dangerous,
tarnished, and just
and their image is tarnished because of this outsourced company that they use for their safety systems. And sometimes companies just don't have the money to make their own manufacturing line for their own safety systems. They outsource these things. All companies outsource things. Well, most do anyway. So I can understand how there must be quite a considerable sum for the defacing of the company and the kind of losses that they've had in that kind of thing. Because people can turn around and go, I'm not buying a car from you. They've got frag grenades in. I'm okay.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I'll go down to my Volvo dealership where everyone's safe and no one dies.
Well, yeah. But no, that's a good point. And I think, I do agree to you there. That obviously the damage done, I want to say as well, the damage done to both the victims and the car manufacturers is more or less irreparable, because the injuries are lifelong. The deaths are obviously lifelong. Your families are hurt. And also the car manufacturers, as you mentioned, just getting that notoriety around, I have a faulty part, I would never drive a XYZ brand ever again.
Yeah, because they're kind of like the poster icon of the problem. There they go, someone's died in their Honda Civics, and then everyone goes rioting to the doors of Honda Civic HQ.
Yeah.
Or the Honda HQ, not the Honda Civic HQ.
Yeah.
But the Honda HQ to say, your cars are terrible, you're killing people, you're murderers, pitchforks and torches, smashing windows. So you can see how it's not fair.
No, yeah, no, definitely. I think it's quite balanced the way it is, but again, you can't put a price on a human life.
Yeah,
ever. It's just impossible. But our next debate topic is something a bit more close to home, a bit more personal to us. When did either of us last check our own car for an open recall?
Ooh.
Because as I said earlier, I checked mine literally after I finish drafting this.
I'm gonna say, because of how that website is laid out, it was probably the last time I double checked my MOT date,
Mm,
which would have been, well, my MOT's in October, so it was probably like a few months ago. To double check when it was, and through that, it's got that little the tab underneath that's for the recalls. But I wouldn't say I actively check, because I mean they can be a recall at any point, can't they?
Do we get email notifications if there's a recall, or does it? Or we might do, because it might be because when you register a vehicle, you have to plug in your email, don't you? And you might, because it's linked. That car is now linked to your email. They might send an
Yeah.
email. So maybe
I couldn't see why they wouldn't do that,
Mm.
because that would go in line with the safety concern with it all. It's something that you need to be notified of instead of finding the information yourself. But I guess finding the information yourself is always a step in the right direction. So,
Exactly. No.
but yeah, I don't religiously check. I don't check multiple times. It's kind of like a when I'm there sort of
Yeah.
thing.
When I'm on the website, I'll
Yeah.
just maybe have a scroll. Our final debate topic as well. So we do 3 debate topics as always. How much do we blindly trust the safety systems in our cars, and does listening to this story change your blind trust of it? Well, I suppose you drive a Volvo anyways.
Well, yeah, this goes back to what I said earlier, the fact that everyone hops in the car, doesn't really think twice about it, thinks, oh, well, the system's there, I'll be okay. And then they drive accordingly to how much they care about how well that's going to work. So yeah, I think a large sum of the populace would kind of neglect the fact that these systems are in place. It's one of those things you can't really think about it. You got other things going on. Maybe you think about work. Maybe thinking about home. Maybe thinking about your family, etc. Whatever's going on. Everyone's got a lot going on in their life. So thinking then about the safety systems, I want to say most people, if not all people, probably only think about the safety system of their car moments before a crash, and they're
Yeah.
hoping.
No, it's true. During a crash, after a crash, they're like, yeah, no, it's a good point to raise. And something that I want to add to it as well is I personally drive an old car, as we know, a very
Yeah.
old car, 2003. So it does probably cross my mind more than the average person. I think, like, when I'm driving down the motorway and I've got 5 gears and I can't go 6 and I'm cruising, and maybe a lorry's coming past and it's shaking my car.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh God, what's going on? That makes me think. It does cross my mind, like, I hope my airbag works if I crashed right now.
Yeah.
But I'd say on the whole, we as humans kind of just trust our cars, as you say. Like, you kind of don't think about it until that lead up to a crash, or during a crash, or after a crash. But no, I think that's a very good opinion to end on there.
But I'll just add quickly. I think people are still bothered about the systems being in place, because say if you were to turn around to me today and say, I've just bought this Toyota Corolla from 1972 or whatever, and you show me, and there's obviously no airbag in the steering wheel, and there's obviously no other safety systems, and there's a small crumple zone or no crumple zone,
Yeah.
I'll probably say to you then, like, pretty unsafe. Like, I don't know how I'd feel behind the wheel of that thing. So I guess people are bothered about the systems being in place and being safe themselves, but once they have those systems in the car, they're not thinking twice about how they're operating.
No, exactly. That's you can't. I mean, with these debate topics, usually we just agree because
we concur on everything.
We're chuntering away and concurring anyway. But that brings a close to the story, to the debates. It's just the outro now.
Yeah.
I'll let you lead us forward, Luke. You can outro this segment.
Yeah. Well, what a wonderful story. It's nice hearing. Well, it's not nice hearing because it's not good things to tell, and not good things that have happened in history, but it gets you thinking, and it raises awareness about the right things. So another wonderful story. So if you're not into beer, then feel free to skip to the next podcast episode. I'm sure it will be somewhere. It will be around. And if you're feeling like you want to listen to more, we've got a few in the backlog. 4 of them.
Go check them out.
So
they'll be released, obviously.
Go check other things. Go check other socials where we're active on a few other bits and bobs. check out our other channel and what we're going on, what's happening. And without further ado, for your beer drinking joys, for your beer enthusiasm, we'll be heading over there for some beers, and we'll see you then.
See you guys with the beer.
And you join us in the beer corner. Today we are reviewing the lovely Star of Brahman.
No, we can't say we're strangers to this. We know this beer, don't we?
Of course. I mean, it's displayed and used in many a beer and many a venue. I'd say, do you know when you make a lineup of the best beers on, like, you've got Guinness, you've got Star of Brahman, you've got this is one of the big boys.
It hits.
This is the one you want on that lineup of
It's
pubs.
a star player. It's up there with the goats.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's why I picked it, because last time we had such a heavy hitter. I thought we'd return with one of the premiums, one of the good ones.
Fire. A good serve deserves a good forehand.
With response.
Exactly.
So yeah. So we know it's a good beer, but today we'll dissect it. We'll have a look at the.
Yeah, because like we say on the previous beer reviews, we never actually have dissected beers in the way we do with this part of the show. Like when you're at the pub, you have a beer because you want to drink a pint with whoever you're around.
Yeah.
But this is.
I mean, there's a bit of that in this as well, because you go to the pub to have a pint and a chat with your mates. And I guess this is a similar thing.
No,
we're drinking and having a chat, but also at the same time, for a bit of content, we're rating the old beers here. So this is Star of Brahman, made in Prague, or
Prague-y,
at least established in Prague, because it probably says somewhere on here that it's made here. 5%.
It was one of the reasons we chose this one to do today is because we wanted something like that fitted the Dark Side of the Road, didn't we? We wanted to have kind of that surprise element, like, oh, I can't believe that's 5%.
Unassuming,
Yeah.
but powerful.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it says on the back here, I love this statement. #1 Prague beer in the world.
How many other Prague beers?
Name me another Prague beer.
Exactly. That's a good point.
So yeah, I mean, shall we get started?
Let's tuck in. I think this is
I'll give you the odds. Not the odds.
the odds and sods. The honours.
The honours, that's the one. I'll give you the beer. Beautiful. Cap.
I hope you could hear that on there. Smells pretty damn
Does it
good.
smell like Prague?
Smells a lot like Prague. I mean, I feel like I've had quite a lot of beer this week, obviously with like filming and then England game.
Like the England game as well.
Exactly. So I feel like I might be well versed. Oh, the glasses are maybe not the cleanest. No, that's fine. It'll do. What if I had the taste of the beer?
Bit extra taste. You can't outpour me, can you? Prague beer is meant to be quite foamy as well, so technically you poured that wrong.
Are they? Or is that German beers?
They're all the same in Europe, on the continent.
You said you wanted a bit foamy. I can foamy for you. A bit more. Can't be skimping out on the old beer. Yeah. Okay, right. That's that poured.
Bit of a stronger colour to this one. I remember the Jubel's quite a yellow, whereas this is more like a gold.
Just hold that. So that does look very kind of dehydrated urine.
Well, going back to saying it smells like Prague, I imagine Prague doesn't smell that good with all the head and do's and stag do's going on over there.
That could be true.
Probably doesn't smell the best at all.
No, but maybe they make a fantastic beer, and that's why we'd review it.
Well, that's why so many people go over there all the time.
Should we give this a little chin?
We shall.
Cheers, old boy. Yeah, that's a beer.
A lot more flavour in it this time.
A lot more flavour than which one?
Well, then obviously the the Jubel,
Mm.
how sessiony that was last time, nice and light with a bit of fruit. This is more of like a thick, bolder.
Barley.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Quite hoppy as well. You can feel it bouncing off your tongue a little bit. Maybe that's the kind of words we'd use for this. It's good. No, it's definitely a good beer.
I could see me picking one of these for a cold, snowed-in pub day.
This is where I feel like you'd kind of want this beer. Late night in the Alps to finish the night off after a little bit of skiing, maybe.
Yeah. That makes sense. Instead of when you're on the slopes, or when you're on a session, you want it.
You kind of want it, or as you said, maybe a nice snowy day. I feel like this would be a very, very good winter beer. I'd put this up there with if I was sat in a pub and it was a winter's evening and we had the fireplace on or something. The fireplace.
Yes, it's very warm behind us.
Yeah, I know. That's what. I feel like that and a Guinness on tap is what you'd want.
I think Guinness is the ultimate warm me up beer. That is
fantastic.
Peak winter beer.
And it's quite sessionable as well, Guinnesses. I know we're getting slightly off track from stuff on, but maybe we'll have to review a Guinness very soon. In the near future.
That's obviously coming up.
Episode 10.
But I think that's quite well rounded because it's not too in your face, but it's also at the same time.
It's got the flavour. It's got depth. I'd say it's got depth. A lot of depth to it.
Depth, yeah.
The most important, the crucial aspect to the beer review is the rating and the ranking. The rating. Out of 10, obviously we score every beer out of 10. Episode 5 here, so we've done 4 beers before this. Now it's time.
I've got a number.
I would like you to go first with your number. Because I've got a number in mind as well, but I feel like you may go higher than me on this one.
I was originally thinking kind of like mid-range of what we normally go with, purely because, it's a beer that everyone knows. It's not like crazy outrageous. There's no like quirks about it. It's like a beer that everyone knows. But the fact that I can still taste it in my mouth now, and I took a sip many a moment ago, and the flavour kind of, I could almost blindfolded know what that is by the flavour.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Whereas with quite a lot of beers, it's hard to tell because
they're all just standard lagers brewed in the UK.
But for that reason, I'm giving it a strong 8.
Wow,
high rank.
I was gonna go, and I'll be 100% truthful with you here. I was thinking originally 7.5.
7.5. Yeah.
7.5. That is just where my gut took me as soon as I had that first initial sip, because it's a fantastic beer to have in the winter. But would I want to drink that all the time?
Yeah, there is that. Yeah.
Would I want to have that day in, day out? Let's say I was on a lad's holiday, for example, and we're going out to the pub every night. Would that be one of my top 3 choices? And I'm thinking, no. I think it's a good beer, but I don't think it's top 3.
If it was very hot outside and it was beer garden, you ring your mates up, let's go out. Let's have a few. Let's chat around a bench, and we go to the bar to order the drink. I'm not going for that.
I think what also so usually we have these beers on this show around the same temperature, don't they? They sit in just slightly below room temperature, if we're being completely honest. I feel like maybe that could be different if it was ice cold.
Yeah, maybe.
Like we're talking frozen glass.
Because that could be proper crispy.
That could be really crispy. That would be off the tap with the frozen glass. That would be probably immense. That would probably be like an 8.5.
Maybe we need to start shooting this live in a pub.
I think we do the Guinness one in the pub.
Yeah.
Maybe. Guys, stay tuned. You have to stay tuned. That'd be a special episode. I'm going to go for a second helping though.
Oh, yeah, I like some barmaid.
I'll do you some up.
While you pour that, I did see a thing where it's quite ironic the way that us Brits kind of, and I don't know if it's international, but definitely Brits, but the way that we see pubs and when is a good time to go to the pub. Because you'd say, like I said earlier, say it was snow to be coming down, you're snowed in, you're in the pub, beautiful. That is a great turn of events. You're stuck in a pub because you're snowed in. Another time, it could be pissing it down with rain. Where do you go when it's raining? You go to the pub, and you're reined in. You're having a nice pint in the pub. if it's really sunny, you call your mates up, let's go down to the pub, it's sunny.
Yeah.
So no matter what the weather, and here in Britain, there is a lot of different types of weather that we can have in one day.
Oh, many a season and a day.
Therefore, pub all day round.
I think, as Brits ourselves, we approve of this message. I think it's some fantastic place. I think a lot of things, business ideas, deep chats, kind of emotional chats, are all had. Not all of them, I can't say for certain, because obviously not everyone goes to the pub, but a lot of them, I'm sure, are had around the table, and especially if we slightly go into the deeper topic of men's mental health as well, with all the things that are coming around now, things like going to the pub with your mates and also doing things like playing golf, where you're walking and talking as a sport as well, I think can be really important in enhancing men's mental health. I know it's a big topic, and I know I wrote a speech on that when I was in school. But I think a pub is just a fundamental part of British culture and life, and I think it's really beneficial for society.
And I think it's quite bad, but it ties in with men's mental health, the fact that us blokes find it hard to shell out those kind of things to other people. And I think where they find it easiest is slightly intoxicated and around their mates.
Yeah,
that is where people find it easiest.
Neutral ground. You're not at anyone's house. You're at the neutral pub, and you can just let things off your chest. I think that's brilliant. Brilliant reflection.
And it works for a lot of people. I think that's why, still, even though in our generation, in modern times, there's less pub goers, less beer drinkers. I feel like there's still that place for that kind of let out of emotions and stuff like that. I think it's still good to see.
No, that's true. Very, very true. And just a slightly lighter mood as well. Say, pardon me, the beer's quite gassy. It's repeating on me. Say the pub's dying out, and I know there's a lot of statistics that surround this, but at university, my experience was, even now, just finishing up literally in the past couple of months, people still went to the pub an awful lot.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know if it's a certain kind of part of our generation that don't. Maybe people that, I mean, we've both gone down different routes, but we still find ourselves at a pub.
Yeah.
So you did an apprenticeship, and I did a degree. But maybe there's just, I wonder what the people in the generation are that aren't going to the pub, because I can't think of one person outside of our friendship group, or no, inside our friendship group, that doesn't go to the pub with us. And
it's still like a common meeting place and kind of gather around the table and talk sort of thing. But I can imagine what one part of it would be is the influx of social media and being alone and being a keyboard wizard.
Yeah, keyboard warrior.
And you're kind of anxious to leave your room, leave your house and do things. I've heard quite a few cases of people where they're just afraid to talk to other people, make friends. So they have no one to go to the pub with.
You have to be in a group for a pub. No, you could do two people, I think, definitely. But
because you go alone, it's a little bit of a different dynamic.
Yeah.
You can still enjoy the pub on your own, but without that person to talk to, you're kind of keeping, as we said, the emotions before to yourself, which...
And you may also feel like a stigma around you as the lonely person in the pub corner, sat in the massive leather upholstered chair with pinhole cushions.
Even though every time you do go with your mates, there's always that time where one mate is there too early, or in our friend group on time, and everyone else is late.
Yeah, exactly.
A couple of times I've let one of the boys down, and he's been there on his own. I've been like, I'm coming, don't worry. I'm alone, I'm on my own.
As long as the beer's crispy fresh when you arrive. I mean, I felt bad some of the times I would have, because Luke is quite a generous pub goer. If you arrange to go to the pub with him, he will buy you a pint and have it on the table waiting for you when you arrive.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been probably like 20-30 minutes late to a pub trip once or twice. And that pint has been sat there for 20-30 minutes.
But it works, because I'm so slow at drinking beers. Mine is still there by the time that you're there.
Exactly.
You probably finish yours before me.
Maybe. I think that might be the case, actually. But a degree in nursing for pints for Luke.
There you go. So I did do a degree in the end.
Yeah, sure, you will. Yeah. Degree in nursing. That was locked in since you're 18, I think, actually. Isn't it like genetic for you?
Yeah. Runs in the family, not being able to drink quick.
Passed down from generation to generation. No, so overarching finalised opinions on the Stout Pramen. I think that is a good beer. Obviously, I went 7.5, you went 8.
Yeah, a lot of character in it.
Are we going Meeting in the middle, 7.75 on that
I'm
rating.
happy with that. Yeah, 7.75.
7.75. That seems fair.
As he pours himself some more, that rating's going up.
It's just a nice beer to have. I mean, especially in the spirit of the World Cup going on at the moment. It's all right, mate. The World Cup going on at the moment. There's a lot, and drinking culture, as we've mentioned, is big in the UK. It makes us British with the big guts and the bad teeth, as Jeremy Clarkson said it, didn't he? He was like, well, James, how can they tell we're British? You know, bad hair, big guts, terrible teeth.
No, that's just you, James.
No. Yeah, 7.75. Quite happy with that.
Yeah. So we'll finish these off, but in the meantime, feel free to check out some of the other episodes. Check out the next episode. I mean, it'll be coming up soon, and check out the previous ones, other videos, etc. There's lots of stuff out there.
There's lots to do. Instagram, YouTube, all your podcast and streaming services. Drop us a rating as well on there, just so we try and climb up the ranks.
And most importantly, I mean, you can do all those other bits if you want, but you don't have to. Comments. We read comments, we look at comments, and it's the best indicator of how we're doing and what you like and what you want to see. So
I think feedback is so key. So like, even if, I know we say this, I know you like to mention the email line at the end of the episode. Drop us an email, drop us anything if you think we need to improve on or you really liked. We appreciate the feedback.
Yeah, 100%. So with that, I think we'll enjoy these, and we'll catch you around.
Cheers, guys. See you soon.
See you soon.